Hello, you awakening wonders. Thanks for joining me today for Stay Free with Russell Brand, and what a glorious day it is. Thursday, this is when we introduce the entire crew and team and have a more broad perusal across the culture. Wherever you're watching us, X, YouTube, or hopefully our sweet home, Rumble Premium, you will stay with us for the next hour while we discuss a variety of things. Firstly and foremost, over the course of the show, we're going to be talking about a quiet revolution in the UK, the rise of the British right. I'm just sort of worried that these are not, like, you know, when people wear wonky sunglasses, I notice it a lot about Bill Maher. He looks crazy. We're talking about the colonisation of Mars, and we're talking about Prince Harry's claim that the UK government should continue to fund his security. Let me know what you think about that in the comments and chat wherever you are watching this. Firstly, though, coming on the show soon is the man that I believe to be the Andy Warhol of our time, i.e. an artist that tells America and the world how to see itself. It's Kanye West. Please, Lord, we might be having a conversation soon. Let me know if you guys would be interested in that. Let me know if you'd be interested in a conversation between me, Kanye, and Andrew Tate simultaneously. And then I was thinking, wouldn't it be funny if we just called it something sort of relatively innocuous, like the Three Amigos, and like sort of wore those sombreros and sort of talked as if we didn't have really complex, difficult challenges to surmount. I know a lot of people have strong views on Kanye, and certainly they do on Tate, and indeed me. Why? I've looked at YouTube a moment ago. There's some real strong views out there. Let's get into it straight away with this. Kanye went on fellow countryman Piers Morgan's show, but didn't stay for very long. Let's have a look. I know you guys may have watched it, and I'll be interested to see what my team think about it. I'll be talking to Jake and Isaac later. Jake representing the cool, handsome Christian community, and Isaac straight from APAC. Are you all right, mate? How are you getting on?
Doing well.
Look at that, he's dry. Also online, we've got our friends Massey and Luke that run the show here. They're members of our team. You can reach out to all of them if you're documentary makers looking for novel angles to bring about my destruction, or if you have any legitimate inquiries. There they are. There's some more people you can reach out to. Okay, let's get into it. Let's check out Kanye.
I watch what you put out on X. You got 32 million followers, so you're one of the most followed people.
See, wait. Now look right now. You're not gonna take inches off my dick, bro. Like, how many followers do I have?
I like how Kanye communicates. I like his body language. I like how he's sitting there. I like how he takes a social media metric and takes it to the most obvious and redolent and visceral measuring that a man might encounter. Inches off my dick. I mean, I'd be grateful if there were inches available to take off mine.
I have.
Well, how many is it?
I think you could do the study. You got a whole staff over there.
I thought it was 32 million. How many is it? You obviously know.
I mean, no. I mean, don't help them out. You know, they.
I'm told it's 33 million now. So congratulations. You're slightly bigger following than I thought.
No.
Piers is being a little antagonistic there, isn't he? Even though I'd say that it's a sort of a marginal distinction. I don't know, where do you register your own? I guess the whole culture cares about social media following, doesn't it? And I suppose, does Piers Morgan seem like he's being cool here, or does he seem like he's trying to ag Ye out?
You're following than I thought.
No, congratulations. Your information is correct. You're not just some, dude trying to sub. I'm a gift, bro. You know what I mean? Why do all you people in media act like you haven't played my songs at your weddings or graduations or at funerals or when your child was born? You take somebody that's living like a Lennon, a Michael Jackson, and you just take all this time to just, like, that nuance right there. It's idiotic. It just shows the hate that you put out for people that put love. There's so much love in the art that I put out.
What are you talking about? I haven't said anything.
What are you talking about? It's 30. Okay, now you're not taking accountability or responsibility.
Literally, you said it. You implied I haven't played your music. Of course I played your music.
No, sir. This is what you get for now. We can circle back when you can count.
Okay.
I reckon what that might have been is that Ye was not totally down with doing that interview in the first place. And when he heard the general timbre and tone of Piers Morgan, he became antagonised. And maybe his worst suspicions of how that was going to go down were confirmed. I feel like I've been in that situation. Not exactly that, but kind of compromised and not into it and enjoying it. Remember, I feel that Kanye West is the Andy Warhol of our time, where Andy Warhol introduced to us the idea that celebrity was a form of commodity by reducing ad infinitum images of Marilyn Monroe and Elvis Presley to show to us that really these people that are reveling in specialness that we hold up as new icons and new gods are actually just commodities. Or as a friend of mine once said, whenever you see a billboard of yourself, remind yourself that in fact that's simply there because people are making money out of you, whether it's a can of Campbell soup or Elvis Presley, Marilyn Monroe, apparently unique people, they're just kind of commodities. Now, Kanye, when he dresses up in the outfit of a Klansman, asks a lot of questions of us and uses interesting images to create a kind of tension and a friction. And like he himself says, he's created in his lifetime a lot of cultural artifacts that people really value and care about. And I think that the Kanye story is interesting because someone that's been at the white heat heart of celebrity culture is now a kind of maligned outlaw within that culture, but still apparently too big to cancel and entirely condemn. And I reckon when we look back at the sort of fractures that will continue, I reckon, to bifurcate, we'll see that Kanye West was one of the early figures that straddled both divides and told us which way the wind was blowing. In a sense, Trump defines it politically. Who defines it more than Kanye West when it comes to celebrity, i.e. the world is changing, media is changing, the way that we receive ourselves is changing. Normally what happens in the culture is when there's a peripheral movement like hip hop or punk, the mainstream can accommodate it and incorporate it and sell it back to us, commodify it, homogenize it, sanitize it. Kanye, it's weird, isn't it? Because he's come from the outside, gone to the center of the culture, and now he's departed again. And the culture doesn't know where it's supposed to situate Kanye. If they could, they'd probably kill him, I reckon. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments and the chat. Is it Sneeko or Sneaky? I'm so sorry to sound old.
Sneeko,
who's his mate there and also a significant streamer and successful person in his own right. I think himself subsequently walks off. Let's have a look.
Oh, what do you want to hold me accountable?
If you don't want to answer questions either, you are free to stand up and walk away like a little sniveling
Well, you could ask questions.
Too.
If you have questions for me, then I'll feel free to answer those.
Here's my question for you. Why is your mate Ye?
Is this whole thing going to be interrupting, or is this whole thing just going to be interrupting? Or do you want me to speak at all?
You're sounding like Andrew Tate Light, like his annoying little younger brother we never knew about. Okay, doesn't work with me. Okay, you set this thing up. It's obviously some kind of elaborate prank.
Okay, your team asked me to do this. If you want to be Netanyahu Light on TV,
but given you want to,
if you want to be Dave Portnoy with the suit,
that's fine.
Then sure. If you want to do ad hominem attacks, then why invite someone on your show? I set this up because your team asked me to do it. I did everything that I could. If I knew that this would, I'm not here wasting your time. You're angry at me for setting up an interview that you wanted. If you have questions for me, I'm happy to answer those.
Here's
if you
my
want to keep doing insults, there's no point in me being here.
Why did Jay stand up like a sniveling little coward and walk away before I could ask him difficult questions?
For the third time, Piers, I don't know if you have a hearing problem, but I'm not going to answer questions on another man's behalf.
Well, it's a really interesting culture now, isn't it? Our culture is a kind of argument. That's what our culture is. Has it always been that? Has it always just been an unpleasant argument? Was it this when Elvis got big, or when the Beatles got big, or when the Sex Pistols got big? Just an argument between emergent cultural forces and establishment cultural forces. And where do those lines lie now? In the last election campaign, when Oprah Winfrey lined up with Kamala Harris and we saw all of those celebrities, I thought, the world has changed. It's changing because this seems irrelevant. What seems more relevant is that Rogan has had Trump on and that Tucker is endorsing Trump and that Theo Von has had Trump on. The world is changing. The pantheon is changing. Do you see that even the institutions themselves are starting to alter? Maybe not so much in a country like mine, the UK, where the establishment roots are so deep catacombs, deep subterranean caverns. But in your country, it's radically altering. New types of celebrity, new type of discourse, new type of rhetoric, whether it's sort of OnlyFans models or Instagram stars or YouTubers or streamers. There are new categories and classes of celebrity, but also now we have the interesting spectacle of people at the pinnacle of fame, and Kanye West is one of that sort of 2 to 5 people that know what it's like to be at the absolute zenith, reordering and reorganizing. As I've said to you before, someone like Leonardo DiCaprio is one of the world's most famous people. His position is not going to alter. He's safely ensconced institutionally. It seems that Kanye West is a true artist. I'm not saying that to diminish Leonardo DiCaprio. I love his movies, but I'm saying that an artist, in a sense, makes people challenge their perceptions of what is real, what is moral, what is ethical, what is funny. All these questions are brought to us by the artist, and Kanye West is certainly doing that. Here he is in his own words.
All right, so I had this vision of performing Hail Hitler at the Grammys wearing a swastika t-shirt and crying because we broke down all the walls of censorship, to break down all of the woke and the Me Too and the cancel and all of these ideas between all of the tweets and the songs and the music, and really, you know, all the threats, the threat of death, the non-threats on money and cutting off the finances, and all that happened. That we went through this war to like really fight for our freedom as artists, because you can't be artists if you can't tell the truth. You're no longer an artist anymore. You're now a commodity. You're a slave. You have to say exactly what you're thinking, and by you saying exactly what you're thinking, that's how the universe moves forward. God puts these ideas in our head that we have to blurt out. I've been looked down and shit upon so many times by control people for just saying what I actually felt, even though there are a lot of people that felt very similar to that. So to just be able to have these 3 words, nigga, hell, Hitler, to finally put it in 3 words that you wouldn't see together, and to have been blessed to channel the greatest song that's been made to date.
So in a way, what he's offering is a challenge to our assumptions, an attempt to blow through censorship, a comment on the fact and the idea that censorship always benefits the powerful, that it's always a tool of oppression. Now, look at these arguments and contrast it with this new, there's a new 12-foot bronze statue of a woman in Times Square, excuse me for burping. Now, remember the season of pulling down statues, whether it was Saddam Hussein in the middle of Baghdad, or Confederate statues being pulled down across America, or even in my country, attempts to pull down the statue of Winston Churchill. A celebrity is the way a culture tells stories about itself to its population. So are literal icons and idols like statues. Just hold in your mind what Kanye West was saying there about censorship, iconoclasm, and let's think about what the artist's intentions would be behind this statue.
And communicate those inner worlds that we have, and sometimes we misinterpret with one another, to try and create an understanding and basically encourage empathy.
That's a British artist talking about how we should not overlook a frequently and certainly historically maligned portion of society, the female, and in this instance, the black female. Now, looking at it through the lens of history, it's difficult to deny that black women have had a pretty hard march. You'd have to be racist not to admit that. But if you admire this particular piece of iconography and implicit iconoclasm, i.e. an attack on who is it that gets statues, it's not just George Washington or Jefferson or General Lee or even Einstein, it's, as I understand from what the artist appears to be saying, a somewhat anonymous black woman. It's not a black woman that's like done anything extraordinary except through being a black woman. And I suppose his point is that that's an extraordinary thing given oppression, etc. Contrast that with what Ye's saying. As an artist, he's saying censorship, control, racism, Nazi, the N-word, words that are potent and powerful have to be addressed, brought to bear, and disentangled and decoupled in our culture. I can't do that as a white person. I can't start bandying the N-word around. Andrew Tate can maybe say it because he's a man of mixed heritage whose father's black. Yeah, he can say it for obvious reasons. And in a way, it's a conversation we need to have because we live in a time defined by debate, conflict, division, where even diversity, which could be a popular, helpful idea, certainly variety is an important cultural idea, is used to divide people. Diversity brings, it seems, division rather than unity. So if you think that that sculpture is a good idea, like, i.e., why don't we celebrate that which is often ignored, then you have to recognize that art has a function and that the function of art is to have difficult conversations. So I would say, yes, have a statue, a 12-foot statue of an anonymous woman to bring attention and light onto the plight of those that are often marginalized and maligned. But by that same mentality, you have to celebrate voices like Ye's. true artists that are willing to get into very, very difficult situations in order to tell the truth. Without truth, there is no art. Other than that, you're just involved in advertising. But that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think in the comments and the chat? If you're watching us on X or YouTube or any of those places, make your way to Rumble and Rumble Premium. Let me know in the comments and chat if you would like to see a conversation between me and Ye and tell me what you're interested in us doing as we continue to rebrand, you think I'd know how to say that word, and reboot the show under considerable external pressure. Before we go any further, here's a quick message from one of our sponsors. Free speech is under attack. Mine particularly, yours and everybody's. Whether it's British government officials demonetizing people on YouTube, putting people in jail for Facebook posts, or the various other ways the nefarious systems and institutions that work, I reckon, for Satan drag us down into the pit, we have to fight back. And how are we going to fight back? Rumble. You know, when you first heard of Rumble, you thought, oh, what is this little organisation? You thought about Royal Rumble, didn't you? You thought about a rumble in the jungle. You thought about a rumble in your tumbo. But now we know that rumbling is the sweet tectonic plate shifting towards free speech. And if you get Rumble Premium, you don't only get great content creators like old Rusty Brandstein, AIPAC supported Zionist, you also get Mustafa Brandajahad. He loves Islam. Also, you get old Russ. He loves Trump. And then you get Russell. He's a big fan of Kamala Harris. How many people do you need on one channel? You gotta get it. Not only do you get me, you get Mug Club with Crowder. You get Glenn Greenwald. He broke the Edward Snowden story. What do you want from people? You get Kim Iverson. And there are also many people on there that are Jews, gays, blacks, whites, lellas, trans people. Dr. Disrespect. He's got to be. Is he? I mean, we've got everyone. Chris Pavlovsky, there's not a donut he won't dunk. Claudio, he a bit Italian. We got great people at Rumble working just for you to make sure you get free speech, the sweet taste of freedom, sluicing around in your gums. When major advertisers conspired to pull their dollars like Dunkin' Donuts, they said that Rumble had a right-wing culture. Well, that can't be true. Let's have a look at just some of the posts here. Rumble is a lily-livered place where gays and Zionists, as well as queers and trans plus folk, can get together. And that's from Steve Bannon. I come on here just to look at men in tight-fitted denim hot pants. That's from Don Trump Jr. All in the Rumble chat. This is a free speech conduit where you're free to be whoever you want to be. It's all available to you in the Rumble chat. For a limited time, you can get 10 of your American dollars off, and you can use crypto, baby, using the promo code AIPAC. No, using the promo code BRAND. Visit rumble.com/brand and get your discount today. Together, we can turn the crimson tide of foaming propaganda and stay free together. Click the link. Okay, thank you so much for staying with us wherever you're watching us. We're going to move now into a conversation with my friends who I make the show with. Here they are. What have you bought, guys? Jake, have you got something to show us today, mate?
I want to wear my sunglasses.
Yeah, why don't we be cool, wear our sunglasses? A lot of the time, I think you're not supposed to wear sunglasses when you're streaming because the eyes are everything, you know, and I went to acting school for proper acting. You're not meant to do that. People want to see the old peepers, but
people always say, is it sunny inside? That's like the number one comment.
In a way, like I bother about the clothes I wear, but the only bit you can see is the shirt, the rippling abs, and the sunglasses. So I'm starting to prioritize maybe it's okay to spend a lot of money on sunglasses. Have you ever spent a lot of money on sunglasses?
I have. I feel like if I spend a lot of money on sunglasses, I take care of them.
Well, I don't. I feel like there's nothing I can do to stop. This is deep. I'm Marilyn Manson's ex-girlfriend, fellow Christian on the path. I know what happens to mine. You've got more kids even than me. The kids get hold of them. They do that to them. That's what kids want to do to sunglasses. Yeah. How is it their little narrow heads ruin our shades? Their little pin tic-tac heads ruining my expensive shades.
They don't value anything. They just destroy it.
Godless heathens. Godless heathens. What did you bring for us today, mate?
I have a trailer for a documentary on Netflix about when the Nazis bombed the UK. Over and over again.
Well, that's helpful because Isaac there's a Jew and I'm British. Is it your intention to insult every single member of the entire team with your selections?
Maybe.
Okay. Well, this is at the request of Jake, apparently a good and brilliant Christian man. How can people find your music, by the way?
Jake Smith.
Check out Jake Smith on like Spotify, for example.
Apple Music, all of it.
Jake's a brilliant musician. You should check his work out. He's fantastic. Let's have a look at Jake's hateful choice that's offensive to Jews and Brits alike.
History's most critical.
My nan was in that. My nan, my granddad, my baby aunties and uncles, they're all in that you call entertainment. Meanwhile, Isaac, did you have any, I know your relatives are out of Latin America, aren't they?
Well, my family fled, they went from Poland and Hungary, and then the other side went from Turkey and Italy to the South America.
Everyone went to South America, big
Pretty
meetup.
much.
The irony was, that's where Hitler was hanging out waiting in the wings.
Yeah, right?
Terrible, really. Let's get back to Jake's choice. The cruel, cruel blitz. What are you going to do for an encore? Auschwitz.
History's most critical days are just beginning.
Hitler doing that, we will erase the cities stuff. It's going to be in it. We will erase their cities. Oh, Hitler, mate. Is that coming across a bit evil?
I remembered my big sister rushing towards me. The teacher screaming to us to get under the table. And then the bomb hit.
It's almost like the day of judgment.
We were just people waiting to be killed.
They're firing at us now, darling. We've been hit.
We knew we were fighting for our very existence.
It's good. It's in colour, but it's in sort of AI colour.
Footage is awesome. I mean, doctored, they went and touched it all up, and I've been watching it just to see the actual images and videos and the voiceovers and the stories. It's powerful stuff.
Have you got a bit that you like best?
I think the whole thing is just, it's all stuff that you've learned about in history, but to see it and to, we've both talked about Malcolm Gladwell's book, David and Goliath.
Yeah.
He has a whole section about this blitzkrieg and how Hitler's was trying to just make fear become so crippling that everybody just gave up, and the opposite happened. Every time that the bombs would hit, every time that somebody would have a story to tell or they would persevere through the fear, they got stronger and stronger and stronger. So even people who were hating on Churchill at the time, he was inspiring. He was walking through the streets, and it's amazing.
That dude, Churchill, he's one of them people where I draw the line at criticising Churchill. Even when I was attending May Day protests in the UK, there's a very famous statue of Churchill in Parliament Square. I was actually there when on one famous, it was a sort of very left-wing thing. It's the kind of thing I used to go to then. And McDonald's got smashed up. I was there then. I wasn't participating, of course. I would never do that. And then some people put sort of a bit of turf, in the style of a Mohican, on Churchill's head. I remember thinking, no, man, Churchill is sacrosanct. People can go on all day long about bombing Dresden needlessly, or the horrors of Gallipoli, or the mistakes he made in the Admiralty. But Churchill, for me, is like a living sign. He's a living sign. Cometh the hour, cometh the man. Sometimes someone will absorb everything from a culture, sort of suck it into themselves. Apparently, he understood iconography. He knew what the cigar was suggesting. He knew what the cane was suggesting, the cat, the V, that he knew how to play the game of images and communications. He was a communication genius. I've even heard, he didn't write those speeches, and sometimes it wasn't even him that read out loud the versions on the radio. But as a synecdoche, a kind of a living image of everything. The same thing you could say about Trump, whether you like Trump or not, is the British spirit conjured up Churchill. It needed him. It needed this character, this depressed artist, broken man. And him and Hitler as the sort of two poles of the war are fascinating. I didn't like it once I heard Louis C.K. saying that, who was your man at the time? Was it Eisenhower that was president at the time? He sort of mugged Hitler off, Churchill off a little bit. I didn't like hearing that. It was on the Shane Gillis and Louis C.K. jokes, because I think, Louis C.K. podcast, excuse me. I feel like Churchill is a legit cast iron hero of history. I'm totally down with statues, by the way, of an anonymous black mother, because hey, I'm the son of a single mother, and I know what sort of heroic work she did raising me. And from what I gather, it ain't easy to be a black woman in the United States of America, and the reverence of the experience of any mother or oppressed class of person is good, but also greatness, for in the arena of public life, should be celebrated.
I mean, if people don't like Churchill, then replace him with like Starmer. Like if
Right.
in this moment you want him to walk around just
Right now, Churchill comes back from the grave. Keir, Starmer, Kitty Harmer, two-tier Keir. We will never surrender to your bureaucracy, your corruption, your confusing private life. Keir, we will never surrender. We will fight you on the beaches. We will fight you in Old Compton Street, as you know, the centre of the gay community. I don't know why that one came to mind. We will fight you wherever we need to. Come on, Keir. Come on, Keir. Tell the old truth, Theo. Tell it good. Put Britain first. Yeah.
say, have you had your AIDS test?
Yeah, now, listen, if you want to be a real hero, it's 2025 now, Winston. You can stand there puffing on a stogie, but will you push an earbud down your prickle hole to see if you've got the Billy Ray Cyrus, the Dirty Boys Christmas kiss, the bad blood? Have you? Have you, yes or nay? Tell the truth, Theo, Winnie. Tell it.
I will never surrender to you and your desperate attempts to appeal to a public that appears to exist in 1984 when AIDS was relevant. AIDS likely made worse by your bureaucratic friends, Anthony Fauci, etc. We will fight them wherever we need to. Pretty good. That'll do, won't it? That's all I need to get me through the day. We've handled that item. Now, though, here's a quick look at what's going on in Britain right now. Anarchy in the UK. Panicky in the UK. Nigel Farage seems to be the British Trump. Would you vote for him? And would you like to see a version of British politics where the likes of Galloway, Andrew Bridgen, and even Jeremy Corbyn align, and maybe a resurrected Winston Churchill AI? Well, how long before we get AI politicians, man? If you can, recolour the Blitz, let's get Churchill back. Let's get Hitler back. Let them fight it out, naked, on the beaches. I will fight you! I will fight you! I will make my dicky hard! Using the images of the Juden, and I will fuck you on the beaches. Oh, steady on, old boy. Steady on. Let's have a look, man. Let's have a look at this Farage video.
No, here's the fucking news.
Is the UK about to have its own MAGA moment? Did you know that quietly in the UK, amidst the rape gang scandals, amidst the misappropriation of public funds, the agricultural protests, the locking people up for social media posts, a quiet revolution is taking place? While Tommy Robinson remains behind bars, Nigel Farage, leader and architect of the Brexit movement, is quietly leading his reform party, not that quietly actually, it's all over the news, to government. Let's have a look at this story and let me know in the comments and chat, do you think that Nigel Farage is the solution to the UK's out? Is he a British Trump, or is he, as I once said, a pound shop Enoch Powell?
He is a pound shop Enoch Powell, and we got to watch him.
So, even though I've in the past had my spats with Nigel Farage, let's see if he's the solution to the current tyranny in the UK.
A potentially seismic moment in British politics.
Isn't British media amazing? Like the pomposity of it. A potentially seismic moment. This is the Runcorn by-election. Could anything sound more Monty Python-esque, parochial and local? Hello, it's the Runcorn by-election reform of one. But the truth is, actually, it could be an indicator of a Labour Party government, a centralist, WF, WHO, globalist, warmonger government, totally losing the support of a population in record time. Two-tier Keir, they call him, because he has one tier of government for his allies and another tier of government for his friends. And there also might be another tier behind the scenes to Keir that people just can't talk about because of a number of injunctions. Potentially, his government is dissipating, falling apart and collapsing in record time. And it seems that Nigel Farage is ready to take up the slack.
Nigel Farage's Reform UK wreaks havoc on both the left and the right.
It marks the end of two-party politics as we've known it for over a century in this country.
Really, what we want to see across the world is a transition in the institution of politics, not just the continual shifting and substitution of two political institutions, Republicans, Democrats, Labour, Conservative, that ultimately serve the same master. The rise of populism, most notably and obviously in the form of MAGA, has provided a significant obstacle to the advancing imperialism of our age, technological feudalism. And perhaps the same thing's happening in the UK right now. Let me know what you think in the comments and chat.
His party started with a by-election win from Labour on a whisker of 6 votes in Runcorn.
Anyone who's ever said voting is irrelevant, how do you feel now with those 6 votes making the difference?
But is it true you don't even vote?
Yeah, no, I don't vote.
The message I take out of these...
UK right now, let me know what you think in the comments and chat.
His party started with a by-election win from Labour on a whisker of 6 votes in Runcorn.
Anyone who's ever said voting is irrelevant, how do you feel now with those 6 votes making the difference?
But is it true you don't even vote?
Yeah, no, I don't vote.
The message I take out of these results is that we need to go further and faster.
That's an amazing message. Keir Starmer, isn't he amazingly? That's the leader of the United Kingdom, of all the people in the UK. Imagine when those islands were formed. Imagine the Saxon kings, chieftains and warriors, the Celts, the sword wielders, the Vikings. Look what it's come down to.
I take this to mean that I've took this as a right shot in the eye. This has given me fanny fiddlesticks of arthritis in my wrist. Oh, I think there's a rainstorm coming. Yep, the old wrist is playing up. That is not a leader. You can see it, you can feel it. You know a leader when you see one. They're idiosyncratic, they're unusual, they're powerful, they're charismatic, and you will recognise them this way too. The institutions of power will continually attack them and undermine them, and indeed the only true leader any of us can turn to is...
Then a rout of Conservative seats, leaving the Tories with not a single council it was defending last night.
Protest parties are doing well today. I know that. It is disappointing.
All down to a howl from the electorate, which the big parties can no longer ignore.
Conservative and Labour, they give it loads of this. They do nothing.
The British people are awakening. The British people have had enough. The British people are ready for a different type of politics, like something we've never seen before. Now, can Nigel Farage bring that about? Let me know in the comments and chat what you think about it. Many people believe in it. Many people think that Tommy Robinson should not be behind bars for contempt of court. Let me know what you think about that in the comments and chat. Whatever's going on, whether it's the refusal to have an inquiry into the rape gangs, the agricultural scandal where farmers across Britain are in protest, or Facebook posters being banged up in jail, the UK is in disarray. What will happen next, and how will Keir Starmer lean into his personal resources as a human being and come up with solutions? Do you think he's got it in his locker?
These results, I could stand here and say opposition parties always do well in elections like this. We successfully defended 3 mayoralties, and of course Runcorn was very, very close. All of that is true.
I would say that Runcorn was very close and we defended 3 mayoralties. We got mayors coming here, we got mayors coming there. We're doing ever so well, aren't we?
Do you recognise that type of politics where politicians reinterpret reality for you?
This is actually quite a good night. I'm pleased as punch. I'm tickled pink. I'm smiling from ear to ear. Yeah, not since my last AIDS test have I felt any better. You know what I done. Straight down the Billy Piper it went. Little whiff of it. Turns out I'm AIDS free. Don't know how, the way I live my life.
But I don't want to give that standard answer. I want to respond by saying, I get it.
Get it? I'm a radical. I'm making real moves. I'll show you.
We were elected in to deliver change. We've begun that. Waiting lists are coming down, 3 million extra appointments.
If you're American, I'm so sorry that British politics seems so tedious and boring that you have to sit and listen to these bureaucrat, dullard, pen pusher Poindexters chatting about all sorts of crap, emptying themselves out, grey, insipid, off-milk smell to the politics of our age. But it's coming to an end. The British people are sick and tired of it. The British people are awakening. The British people no longer trust their media. They don't want to pay their licence fees anymore. They don't want mass migration on a scale that's disruptive. They want to live in cohesive communities. They want to worship and revere the God of their own understanding, and they want, above all else, their voices to be heard.
Wages are going up faster than prices, hugely important for people in a cost of living crisis. And interest rates are coming down, which for mortgage holders is hugely important.
It's really good, actually. See, the mortgage costs are coming down. Things are fan-bloody-tastic. 2 thumbs up for me, 1 up here, and 1 up there.
It's really amazing to me when politicians stand and lie to your face like that. Have a look at Keir Starmer's X feed. It's just post after post.
I respect the firemen. I respect the farmers. British people respect VE Day.
It's just like the auto-typing AI chat of an apparatchik or backroom staffer churning out crap. Then do yourself a favour and look at the comments. Fuck off, Keir, fuck off, Keir, fuck off, Keir. It's just endless. We've never had a leader this unpopular. And this is the country of Tony Blair and Margaret Thatcher.
The message I take away from these results is we must deliver that change even more quickly. We must go even further.
We're moving like grease lightning. Go grease lightning. I'm bloody well up the stairs. I'll get the money. I'll get the bleeding money. Oh, grease lightning. I need another AIDS test. Right down my PO. Right down my bloody PO.
I believe for some time that's the case.
What I keep referencing is he made a big deal of having an AIDS test.
I did an HIV test. It's really simple.
So just to contextualise that.
I'm reinforced in these results that that's what we've got to do. So yes, I could do the traditional.
Look along the bottom, Russell Brand in court. Okay, we got time and money for this, have we? Well, yeah, no, we better look into that. You mean this popular online reporter that's criticised this during COVID and all our decisions during war, then all of a sudden some publicly funded organisations and corrupt media organisations do 4 years of investigation?
Yes, listen, I've had an AIDS test for you.
It's not for me to defend myself in the court of public opinion. I'll be doing that in an actual court. But I'm very grateful to my friend Tucker Carlson who posted this. Russell Brand was once a famous left-wing actor celebrated by the British establishment. Then he criticised the government for using COVID to turn the UK into a totalitarian state. The accolades abruptly stopped. A government TV station accused Brand of committing sex crimes against anonymous women they refused to name. Government officials called for his opinions to be scrubbed from the internet. That's Baroness Dianich, these referring to. They're married to Mark Lancaster, who's a PSYOPs official in the British Army. That's not even a joke. Last month, British prosecutors charged Brand with rape and sexual assault. None of the charges are backed by hard evidence. All of them supposedly took place more than 20 years ago, one of them in the 1990s. The entire case is transparently political and absurd, a near-identical replay of the fake rape charges authorities brought against Julian Assange 15 years ago. He goes on to say some other rather lovely things about me, and I feel that it would be remiss of me not to make absolutely clear that I don't put myself in the same category as Julian Assange, a brilliant, brilliant journalist and a fantastic man who made incredible sacrifices. Almost by accident, I found myself in the position because of you, because of your loyalty as viewers, reporting on stories that turned out to be true, whether it's the nature of Rishi Sunak's relationship with Moderna through Falim partnerships, Ukraine's relationship with BlackRock, the way that the media is run more broadly, the way that Pfizer were concealing information from us, the potential impact of vaccines. So I suppose, inadvertently, I found myself in a comparable space to Julian Assange, but whilst I thank Tucker Carlson for that very flattering comparison, Julian Assange stands alone, and hopefully he'll be alone in spending 11 years in prison without trial. Fingers crossed, eh? Now, Nigel Farage is the leader of Reform, and if there is a British MAGA movement, it centres around Nigel Farage, and whether you like him or not, you have to acknowledge that he has been steadfast with his principles when it comes to Britain leaving the EU, an anti-migration position, and one of traditionalism and patriotism, which it seems increasingly is resonating with the British public. He appeared on a British TV show, Good Morning Britain, which I guess is like Regis and Kathy or whatever, just a sort of soft sell soapy TV show where all of its former hosts have to leave because of weird stuff. No, let's not get into that. Here he is being somewhat raked over the coals, as I understand. I've not seen the piece yet.
And we're a party that says young men coming to Britain illegally across the Channel should not be allowed to stay. And it's extraordinary that in Runcorn alone, there are 750 of them.
But you've kind of whipped up that anti-migration sentiment.
It's not migration, it's illegal immigration. Let's get this right.
But that's not necessarily the...
It's interesting to see the biases. You've sort of whipped that up. It's not illegal. Like, Farage knows his onions, as we say in the UK. He's not talking about immigration, he's talking about illegal immigration. If something's against the law, then I guess we should enforce those laws, shouldn't we? Or change those laws. Let me know what you think in the comments and chat.
Necessarily the distinction that people who are voting are making, because some of those who were talking to me yesterday...
No, they're living in...
Do you see the subtle implication that you're stupid there? People that are voting are not making that distinction. Have you learned to read that kind of comment yet? Have you learned to read it? They think you're stupid. Well, the British people don't know. They just, as soon as they hear you say we want to control migration, they immediately march into the street and attack a corner shop owned by Pakistani second-generation migrants. British people are brilliant, beautiful, loving, robust, great sense of humour, brave, lay their life down for what they believe in. There's no one quite like the British. But the fact of the matter is, we've been lied to, subjugated, misled for such a long time by fools in the legacy media. And I, as a celebrity, have participated in that in the past. Because guess what? You can't be a celebrity unless to some degree or another you are convenient and useful to the agenda of the powerful. You heard it here first. Either you just appear in their big tent marquee movie releases, or you're just one of the lesser pantheon that can be pushed forward to be a mouthpiece for a particular agenda or mindless distraction. Delete as appropriate. But here we see the nub. When people get near power, they will be attacked. Nigel Farage, by the way, he's had his bank accounts shut down and all sorts of weird, shady, illegal stuff. He's been lied about and attacked. As I keep reiterating, he's not a person that I've always gotten well with, but what I believe in is integrity, authenticity, and I actually believe in democracy and free speech and justice and all the things we're told that we're supposed to believe in. The people that say they believe in it, that are part of the establishment, don't believe in it. They like it as a weapon. And when people start to use those principles, whether it's free speech, transparency, authenticity, holding up a mirror to power, telling truth to power, if that don't go their way, you better believe, as quick as lightning, working class people don't understand the news. They shouldn't have flags up outside the house. White van man, they're all racist. There's your true colours.
Streets here. They're living in streets here. I mean, hotels may be emptying, but houses of multiple occupancy are here to be seen in street after street, and people resent it. And you know what? If your alarm clock goes off at 5 o'clock in the morning, you go off and work for 10, 12 hours on a building site, and the tax you're paying goes up every year, and you think part of my money is going for these people to walk into this country and live for free, you do feel there's a sense of unfairness.
Some of those I was speaking to yesterday, they weren't making that distinction. One, for example, talked about the man who committed the Southport attacks, for example, who was born in this country.
Just even actually to see Nigel Farage being able to handle himself like that. Keir Starmer can't have those kind of conversations. You've all seen the clips where when it was fashionable to say that gender fluidity ought to be respected, and there's certainly an argument for that socially between us all as human beings, he couldn't tell you whether or not there was a woman. What's a woman? Oh, well, now I know them. It's the wash-nose with the jellies on their chests. Oh, I've seen them before in my dirty books. Oh, I'll have a look at those. That's why I have to have an AIDS test every couple of months, because I love the wash-nose. He can't have a conversation on the news live. Of course he can't. He's got too much to hide. Nigel Farage, whether you like him or not, he can chat normal on the TV. Me, if it was up to me, and I know that it isn't, Nigel Farage would ally with people like, say, George Galloway, Jeremy Corbyn, to create a truly populist anti-establishment movement. You lot should start thinking in that kind of way, by the way, getting across the divide, getting across those categories, and thinking about who are the true and authentic anti-establishment voices in the UK, because those are the voices you can trust, not the people that are trying to destroy them.
As having come from abroad, as being a migrant. So,
his father came as an asylum seeker, actually, and was given leave.
But he was born here.
No, he was born here. Yeah.
And are you sure that your voters are making that distinction between?
I think our voters know what's right and what's wrong. Absolutely.
Your voters are racists. They're stupid, and it's them that should be deported. It's them that should leave the country. Round them up like we tried to in the COVID. Get them into internment camps. They do not love their grandmothers. Get the jab. Get the jab. Get the jab. Get the jab.
They use compassion to augur fascism. Have you recognised the pattern yet? The continual insults levelled at Farage and Reform voters makes me want to vote for him.
And it's quite interesting. I mean, the last general election, we had more of the black and ethnic minorities voting for us than the Liberal Democrats did. People know what's right and what's wrong. And coming to Britain illegally across the English Channel, I promise you, it was an issue that damaged the Conservatives. It will finish Labour in the north of England.
Do you think that Sarah Pochin's going to help you with your woman problem? Because not very many women vote Reform UK, do they?
Not true.
You've got a woman problem. You've got a woman problem. I'm a woman. I'm your problem. You've got a woman problem.
Not true. At the general election, it was 58-42 male-female. Okay? Since the general election, all of our growth share, it's been 50-50.
Okay, but under 20% of your candidates in these elections are women.
Well, people who stand, we're a very new party. People who stand, people who don't.
So what? So what anymore with all of this stuff? What you actually want is to wheedle out the corrupt bureaucratic liars in institutions of media and politics, commerce and corporations. You want them gone. You don't want to be worried too much about whether anyone's got a boob tube or a wasp name, a Minky Mix or an Uncle Mike. Those things aren't important anymore. In fact, some of them I just made up on the spot. 1 minute they're telling you there's no such thing as a woman. Next minute they're telling you don't have enough women in your party. Which is it? Well, whichever one will help us win the argument we're trying to have while we unconsciously support the agenda of the powerful, which we don't even understand we're doing because we don't have any principles, because we don't believe in God, because we only believe in mammon, because we only believe in rationalism, we call it, but that just means discourse, sophistry and casuistry, creating arguments that benefit us. Nigel Farage, man, I gotta tell you, whether you like him or not, whether you have a history of arguing with him, as I literally personally do or not, he's better than them by a country mile. If you are a farmer, if you live in a city, whether you're Muslim, black, gay, whatever you are, Nigel Farage, you can rely on that dude to tell the truth. He might be backed in financial ways that I don't fully understand, but he's a much better deal than any of that mob.
How dare you say I've got a woman problem?
Well, I mean, I think some people objected to you saying, for example, that women don't sacrifice enough in the workplace, for example.
No, I said more women tend to put family above work and men tend to be more selfish, is what I said.
They're relying on their own evidence. Do you remember when you said that women were all stupid and lazy? Wait a minute, what could I have said that you are repurposing now? Oh yeah, that's because I said women prioritise family. Maybe because their primary function is to grow human beings in their stomach. And before you declare that as sexist, the function of men is to provide the sperm. Even less important. If you look at reality just from a biological perspective, that's it. And if you don't believe in God, that's what you do believe in.
And I stand by that.
But you use the word sacrifice, which I think upsets lots of women who feel they do make a sacrifice to be in the workplace.
For goodness sake, you know.
Do use the word sacrifice. That's a nice word, sacrifice. It even rhymes with nice. You can't trust these people. You can't trust anything they say or anything they do. They might be perfectly nice people. I'm not talking about the individual. It's like the Matrix. She is simply an agent occupied by an ideology that is convenient to the powerful and will use her. If they find out tomorrow that she once on the internet said something rude, she's fucking gone. They'll get another mug up front to say those things. Get out there and try and embarrass Nigel Farage. Well, thankfully, he can handle himself.
Women make different choices to men. Not all of them, but many do. And men are far more selfish than women when it comes to work.
They're trying to get everyone to talk real slow all the time and be real boring. Hello. And when I say hello, I don't mean hell is surrounded by the letter O. I just mean the old greeting, the nautical greeting that people used on ships. Ahoy there, I mean. Shiver me timbers. They're just trying to sort of get us into some etymological linguistic trap continually. And that's possible for them because they don't have any principles.
But it helps you to have a female MP now as one of your 5.
Not just that, but Andrea Jenkins, Dame Andrea Jenkins is about to become Mayor of Greater Lincolnshire. And you're right, of course, it will change the look of the party, and that's a good thing.
Maybe that exchange is an indication that Farage could be a British Trump because he's willing to go, yeah, you're all right. You know, like conversational, normal. When he's putting in pints of lager on his head and smoking fags, I never spotted all of that. That he's personable. People are sick and tired of these sort of dry, dirge, tedious politicians and these sort of condescending news broadcasters. It's like a breath of fresh air, although I do wonder about his breath with all that booze and fags.
He left when you said migrants should be put in tents. That's good enough for France. That should be good enough for them too. Do you think that's a divisive way of conducting politics?
I think it's what the majority and the silent majority think.
That's what you think of migrants. That's where they should.
And well, illegal migrants, people come here illegally. They should be put in tents like they do in France.
And people seeking asylum should also be put in tents.
Well, I think genuine asylum seekers, like Ukraine, etc., that's a different matter.
And then you also accused one candidate of. She said you were parachuted in,
yes,
and you made a comment about her South African accent. What did you mean by that?
Well, what I meant is, how can they say I've been parachuted in when I spent most of my...
Just sticking up for South African accents. Have you ever heard of South Africa? Listen, okay, right, I will tell you in 15 minutes, you better be inside of that. Listen, people with South African accents, they go through hell How can you be so cruel about the most mellifluous and beautiful of the accents? South African accent, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more beautiful. Really, like, almost objectively not a nice accent. That's not to say that South Africans aren't good at cricket and rugby and being humans. It's just like, you know, come on. Someone's saying something about an accent. Aren't we all a bit bored of this crap by now?
Life in Lincolnshire, school.
Why mention the accent, sorry?
Because the irony of saying someone's being parachuted in who's not even from the country. I mean,
Yeah, good point, isn't it? Good point. Fuck off.
Went to school, college, university, so I think...
So someone who's got an accent can't be from this county?
That's what I meant to say. Yeah, thank you. You've really helped me there. Sorry, I meant to say no one with an accent should be allowed to do anything ever. Yeah, thank you. You've really helped me clarify. And you're clearly not trying to manipulate this story in order to create division and hatred. We can totally trust the news.
I think, actually, I'm not even going to answer any more of your questions. I think that your questioning is quite divisive. You're looking into things when it was a little play with words, it was a little joke because of the irony. Do you not understand irony?
The only reason I'm asking is...
No, the only reason I'm asking is because I'm trying to start an argument and I won't rest so everyone hates each other. Then we people that work in media can keep our nice offices and keep pretending to be nice people when all we actually do is shit on working class people and spread hatred everywhere and then collect a paycheck for it, even though legacy media is dying because people are waking up to the fact that it's completely empty and hollow and carrying the agenda of the powerful. Oh man, what an awakening. Whatever happens with Nigel Farage and the Reform Party, ain't it a relief just to hear people talking normal? No, it isn't. I'd like to hear more South African accents, and don't you ever criticize it, not even as a joke. Or Nelson Mandela's word like that. You can't do that! You can't do that! That's racist! Well, South Africa was a little bit racist for a while. How dare you! How dare you bring up the past! How dare you! We're the ones that bring up the past when it's suitable to us and change it and manipulate it if convenient. The UK is quietly revolting. I mean that in a positive way. People have had enough of lying media. People have had enough of institutions being used as weapons. People have had enough of a political class that clearly hates them. They're awakening to it now. The only people that support these institutions are the people that benefit from things staying the same. And with Britain in decline, there are less and less of them these days. But that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think in the comments and chat?
No, here's the fucking news.
Okay, let me know what you thought about that in the comments and chat. If you're watching us on YouTube, we're leaving you right after this commercial, and we're going to be talking about, well, who knows, was the team's in charge of it. I know that I'm going to be talking about colonisation of Mars, Prince Harry's attempt to get you to pay for his security, and Portnoy on his F the Jews. And also, who would win a fight, 100 men or 100 gorillas? That's a tricky one. I did that on purpose to annoy Isaac. His finger was up. He had his finger up like Hitler there. No, it's only one gorilla. It's only one gorilla. Let's have a look at this message from our partners. 1775. What's it coming round?